All right, folks, let me call the meeting to order. We thank you for joining us this evening. This is a regularly scheduled Greer City Council meeting called and convened this November the 11th, 2014. Again, we thank you for joining us on this Veterans Day evening, and looks like our agenda is fairly light, but nevertheless, we appreciate you coming in regards to the business before the city this evening. We are privileged to have Weeblo Den 1, Pack 527 joining us this evening. Had an opportunity to go and speak with these young men several weeks ago and talk to them about civic matters as they worked on some of their requirements for their Weeblo certificate or badge and are training to go into the Boy Scout program, and we talked about the importance of that and how it can shape their lives, and I encourage them to continue along that path. I'm going to ask Leader Craig Kubius to bring the troop forward, and they are going to lead us in our pledge, and if you will remain standing following the pledge, I will lead in the invocation. So, gentlemen, if you will come forward and lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, we come with grateful hearts this evening and thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us throughout this day. We thank you that you have brought us together here this evening to assemble to do your business for this city. We are grateful and thankful for that opportunity and calling that you have placed upon our lives, and ask for your guidance and direction as we seek to do what is best for the citizens of this city. Help us to always be mindful of the needs of all our citizens and attentive to those that need the most help. Lord, we gather here tonight because of the sacrifice that veterans have made, and on this Veterans Day we want to lift up all of our veterans and thank you for what they've done. And Lord, for those that have made the supreme sacrifice, we thank you for that. We thank you that you have been with those families, and we honor their memories this evening. And for those that are still alive and in our community, we thank you for the service that they have provided, and help them know that they have been remembered this evening on our behalf. We thank you, Lord, that we do live in a country where our freedom is protected by our armed services, and for all of those men and women, we thank you and ask you to bless them. We ask all these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. With that, we'll move to our public forum session. Our public forum session this evening. Ms. Duncan, do we have anybody to appear?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, then we'll move to the minutes of our council meeting on October the 28th, 2014. I'll entertain a motion that they be received.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second in that regard. Any items of note? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert?
Yes.
Mayor Danner?
Yes. Is Ms. Worley with us this evening? If you would, join me up front, please, ma'am. And others, certainly? Yes. Please. We have a very special presentation to make this evening. And that is a proclamation declaring that the city of Greer declares November as Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. It says, whereas in 2014, an estimated 46,000 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the United States, and 39,000 will die from the disease. And whereas pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers, it's currently the fourth leading cause of cancer deaths in the United States, and is projected to become the second by 2020. This pancreatic cancer is the only major cancer with a 5-year relative survival rate in the single digits of just 6%, and whereas when symptoms of pancreatic cancer present themselves, it is generally in the late stage, and 73% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first year of their diagnosis, while 94% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first 5 years, and whereas 610 deaths will occur in South Carolina in 2014. Whereas the Recalcitrant Cancer Research Act was signed into law in 2013, which called on the National Cancer Institute to develop a scientific framework or strategic plan for pancreatic cancer and other deadly cancers, which will help provide strategic direction and guidance needed to make true progress against these issues. Whereas it will be very difficult to leverage the opportunities that come out of the scientific framework developed as a result of the Recalcitrant Cancer Research Act unless sustained and adequate funding is provided to the National Institute of Health and National Cancer Institute. Whereas the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network is a national organization serving the pancreatic cancer community in the city of Greer nationwide through a comprehensive approach. It includes public policy, research funding, patient services, and public awareness and education related to developing effective treatments and a cure for pancreatic cancer. Whereas the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network and affiliates in the city of Greer support these patients currently battling pancreatic cancer, as well as those who have lost their lives to committed to nothing less than a cure. Whereas the good health and well-being of the residents of the city of Greer are enhanced as a direct result of increased awareness about pancreatic cancer and research into early detection and effective treatments. Now, therefore, the City of Greer Council designates the month of November 2014 as Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. If you were as unfamiliar with the statistics as I was, I hope that you find this proclamation both sobering and enlightening. I had no idea and have a much better feel and understanding for what the folks with pancreatic cancer are dealing with. And I would venture, I guess, to say that everyone in this room has been touched in some way by cancer. And I hope, after reading this, that it wasn't pancreatic cancer, but if it was, we would certainly hope to support the endeavors, like we are for all cancers, researching diligently for a cure. With that, I want to present this to you, and if you would like to say something in regards to those efforts, please feel free.
Well, I just want to thank you and the council and the fine community of Greer who has supported us the past 3 years in declaring this proclamation for us. Have no fear. We didn't know much about pancreatic cancer either until it touched us personally. And now we know more than we wanted to. But we are dedicated and determined to change the course for other patients so that they can fight stronger and live longer than my son and Debbie's husband and Tracy's dad and Chelsea's grandfather got to live. So we thank you and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move to the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. First item is to ask that you would enter into the record of the city the results of the November 4th special election. That report has been provided to you from our election commission on the referendum question concerning retail alcohol sales In favor of that motion, 2,606. Those voting no, 1,558. With the yes in the affirmative, that question did pass. That has now been confirmed by our Election Commission. And again, we offer that report to you and ask that it be officially entered into the record minutes of the city.
Having received the report, do I hear a motion to enter it as an official matter of the record of the city?
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Also, in addition, some follow-up information concerning that referendum question is what are our duties and responsibilities now that the public has voted on that. I've asked Mr. Sell if he would to provide some additional information. We are in the process now of notifying DOR, Department of Revenue, as well as preparing to notify our area businesses. And again, I've asked Mr. Sell if he would brief you on our process.
Thank you, Mr. Driggers. Mayor and Council, as Mr. Driggers indicated, we are in the process of notifying the DOR of the results of the election. Paperwork involved with that, obviously, with that agency. A little bit similar to the paperwork that we filled out for the previous question regarding restaurants, but a little bit different. We will hopefully have all that completed and to them by within the next couple of days. Once they have that, they'll go through a review process to make sure that everything is done correctly, and then they'll approve it. At that time, they will begin accepting applications for permits from businesses that would qualify, and then they could issue those permits. But until that time, regardless of the results of the election, businesses are not allowed or permitted, obviously because they're not permitted, to sell alcohol, beer, wine, through retail outlets on Sundays until that permit has been issued. All the permitting will be handled through ABL. We do not do any permitting ourselves. They don't go through the city in that regard. We are in the process of putting together a memorandum to the businesses that are potentially affected or are interested in doing this to let them know what the process is and what they will need to do. Probably for the majority of the businesses, grocery stores, convenience stores, they're already familiar with the process based on their presence in other jurisdictions, so they probably know those things. But we may have some more independent, smaller businesses that we need to make sure that they're familiar, with that. The business license, the permit that will be issued is a new permit. They currently are operating, if they sell beer and wine from their store, on a 6-day permit. This will become a 7-day permit. It will be the only permit that they hold. We have talked with our folks at the police department and the folks that we have out and about, that as they're observing businesses that will be engaging in the business, to make sure that they're properly permitted and that they know what that permit looks like and what it will be, because there could be some businesses that may choose not to pursue the permit immediately. We just want to make sure that there's no confusion in regards to them thinking that they could still sell beer and wine on Sundays without that permit. But as I said, we're sending a letter out to describe all that detail to them as well, and we hope to have that information to the businesses at the end of this week, first of next week, trying to coincide that with the approval of DOR of our report and our information that we have in regards to the referendum. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Mr. Sell, I was asked a question, and I told him I would try and find out. Since this convenience store already sells 6 days a week, I'm assuming that it either doesn't apply or there is some exemption or something. But do stores and restaurants have different qualifications about the distances between a church and a store than it does a church and a restaurant are?
Mr. Mayor, I do not know if there are differentiating requirements. I know that through the permitting process, the ABL, that is one of the questions they ask, is where they're located in regards to churches. I don't want to guess, but I think that question has probably already been answered if they currently hold an ABL permit for the 6-day permit.
Okay. All right.
because I don't think it's the day of the week that matters. I just think it's the proximity to the establishment,
Okay.
regardless of the day of the week. Again, that's...
We'll confirm, but...
We'll confirm, but I
that
do
does
believe that's
seem
that's the
appropriate.
case.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, as part of my report, I'd like to ask Chief Chris Harvey if he could come forward. As you are aware, we have been celebrating the 100th anniversary of our fire department. Had an opportunity to have a number of events last Saturday at the department, as well as an opportunity to host an evening. And as part of that, the chief and his fine staff were able to issue something that they call a challenge coin. And the chief would like to share some additional information on that this evening.
Sure, just wanted to come tonight and formally present one of our challenge coins, a numbered coin to each of you. There was only 150 that were numbered out of the 400 that we had made for this event. Again, I want to thank you for the honor and the privilege to do this year. It meant so much, not only to myself, the men and women of the fire department, but the retirees. Some of Mr. Airwood and I were talking the other day. One person I don't think we've seen since he retired, you know, and it was great to see him back. And the challenge coin, if you weren't there, is I'm not going to go into the in-depth history that we had the other night, but the challenge, and it goes back greatly for many years, back to World War I, World War II. And but the biggest thing is that we encourage you. You got one the other night. Some of you weren't able to attend, but formally wanted to give you one. But I want you to have one that you can carry all the time, because you know the ultimate challenge is that if I walk up to you and challenge you, and you don't have the coin, you have to buy the round for everybody. So just make sure you always have one. And thank you for sponsoring our dinner.
Thank you, Chief.
I tried to get Mr. Albert to jump in there with us on the bucket brigade, but it was a little bit cold.
Yes, it was. It was extremely cold that day. Someone was nice enough to let me use their jacket while their son was participating in the bucket brigade.
Yeah, thank you. We had a fun time doing that, even though
It was enjoyable.
Again, thank you for allowing us to sponsor the event. The weather wasn't our best friend that day for the daytime events, but our dinner, we had a great speaker for our dinner, and we're 100 years and 11 days. Going strong.
Thank
you,
you.
Chief.
Thank you.
In other matters, as a matter of report, when we last met, I did make you aware that we had 4 teams that were going to be participating with the Greer Station Association Chili Cook-Off, and we indeed had that group, a group from a competing team from the police department, a competing team from the fire department, a competing team from City Hall, and also a competing team from our operations center, which was combined from our recreation department and our public services department. The People's Choice Award that evening was awarded to the team from City Hall, and we're very proud of that group. So we hope that you had an opportunity to come out that Tuesday evening. Had about a dozen vendors that were representing and had chili available. It was a great event there on Trade Street, and it was a lot of fun. Our teams enjoyed it, but we do extend congratulations to all of our teams, but especially to those folks on the City Hall team that won the People's Choice Award. Earlier today, we were able to celebrate with the veterans of Team Greer, and we were very pleased to be able to do that. About 18 of those folks were able to join us for a luncheon earlier today, and it is always a great, great opportunity for us to say thank you for not only their service in the past, but we want to also thank them for their service that they provide to our community today. These men and women are true public servants. They serve their country through their military service, and they serve our community as public servants today. So thank you for, again, allowing us to recognize those folks. It was a wonderful opportunity. You may also be aware that we were flying the Stars and Stripes today above City Hall, which we normally do, but a little different for us today. Our stars were 48 in number. We had on display today the flag that was used for the burial of Sergeant Nathan Jordan, and he was buried in France, and the flag was flown back to the United States and presented to his family. The family provided that on loan to us today, and it was a wonderful opportunity for us to celebrate that with the family as well as our community. We did receive some attention to that earlier today, but it was a great tribute to not only Sergeant Jordan's family, but to all of the men and women in our community here in Greer for their service. So very, very meaningful and symbolic Veterans Day in Greer. I do want to make you aware also that we will be hosting the South Carolina Economic Development Conference. That will be held here in our community. They will be meeting in this facility on Thursday and Friday of this week. Ms. Bookert is a graduate of that program and has participated in the past. And they are returning to our community, and we're glad to have them here. We'll be participating with them in a number of events, and Greer Development Corporation is also hosting them as part of their conference as well. Glad to have that group from all over the state of South Carolina here in our community, as we can show them a bit about who we are and what we do in our community. We're also partnering with Greer Development Corporation and the Chamber of Commerce this Friday. It'll be the Greer Day at the South Carolina Inland Port. I hope you have your tickets, because if you do not, it is sold out. We anticipated that that would be a greatly sought after event, and it sold out quickly. And so we are very, very much looking forward to partnering with the Chamber and with GDC. That program will begin here at City Hall. And then after some formal remarks that will be made concerning that program, its impact to us as a community, our involvement of the city in working with that group, and also their operations and what they are doing out on that site, there's also an opportunity for the participants to be bussed over to the Inland Port property, and they will be toured on what takes place there on the ground as well. This is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. We appreciate the support of the Inland Port, but also our partners. Looking forward to that this Friday. Next Tuesday, we have also are advising our community that we will have another opportunity for our community master plan. This will be our community meeting that will be taking place next Tuesday evening. That will be at the Cannon Center from 5:30 until 7:30. The format will be a little bit different for us this time, because as we continue to move through the process of the master plan, we're starting to get deeper and deeper into what things will start to look like, how we are envisioning the community through 2030. The community will be asked a lot of questions relative to architecture, design, what we would envision things would look like as we move into 2030. They'll do that in what they are calling a passport process. There will be 5 stations that will be set up in the room. As folks come into the room, they will be given a passport, and then at each of these stations, their passport will be stamped so that we have an opportunity to get folks to each of those different areas. And then at the end of the evening, we'll actually do a drawing for a couple of door prizes for our folks that were able to participate. That's just kind of the fun side of it. But the real work and what we're intending to do in this is to start to drill deeper so that we can begin to really recognize the opportunities that we have in our community. It's a very, very important meeting. From 5:30 until 7:30, you can come in at any portion of that meeting. There's no formal process to it. So you can come at 5:30 and you may be finished at 6 or 6:15 or 6:30. Or you can come at 7 o'clock and finish in the next 30 minutes and make your rounds through the passport stations. But our intent there is to have a very flexible time that our community can come in and share with us their belief and their vision for us as we move toward 2030 as well. So our process is moving rapidly along. As we get into November and then into December, we are then quickly approaching the beginning of 2015, and we'll start to anticipate really that plan getting revealed to us as a community as we approach the spring, early summer of 2015. I hope that your schedule will allow you to come by next Tuesday evening. That, again, is going to be at the Cannon Center. It is from 5:30 to 7:30. We will be communicating with our public through a variety of means, but we certainly hope that we will get a large turnout from folks that will say, this is what I would like to see in Greer between now and 2030 and beyond. So we're looking forward to hosting that meeting with our consultant team of Kimley Horn next Tuesday, 5:30 to 7:30. We have notified you that we are trying to pull together a couple of workshop opportunities. We've been able to get those scheduled in consultation with the mayor. To make you aware, we will be doing the first of those workshops on November the 25th. That is your next council night. And that first workshop will be held at 5 p.m. We will begin at 5 o'clock in workshop. The first one will actually be held in executive session. We will be working with our consulting team on an economic development project, and that's the reason. So we'll convene, go into executive session so that we can work with our consultant on the economic development project. That project is specific to the Allen Bennett Memorial Hospital campus, and we will work with our team in developing the plans and the things that you have concerns and issues about as they develop the marketing plan, the study for that site. And that will be held on the 25th at 5 o'clock. We will recess and then go into your regularly scheduled meeting at 6:30. It's how it happened to occur as we've tried to schedule a couple of workshops. We wanted to get this in before the end of the year, so we only have one additional meeting in December, and that is December the 9th. So we will be asking you once again to come into workshop. We will do that at 5 o'clock on December the 9th, and we will do that workshop for the purpose of looking at our roads program as well as our curbside collection program. So we'll have information for you on both of those, and I'll be soliciting from you discussion on both our curbside collection program and our road infrastructure within the city, and how issues and concerns that you have and direction and discussion that we would like to have among council so that we have some direction in 2015 of how we want to move forward with those as well. As we are aware, the referendum question in Greenville County failed for the penny sales tax for road infrastructure. Will that have impact to us in Greer, positive or negative? The purpose of the workshop is for us to have some discussion about that so that we again can get some clear direction from you on how you would like for us to proceed as we move into 2015 and beyond. We don't anticipate that will be happening a lot. It just happened to happen just right here with our last meeting in November and our first meeting in December. So we indulge you to allow us to conduct those workshops. As we roll into the Christmas season, tree lighting on Friday, December the 5th, breakfast with Santa on Saturday, December the 6th, which is a sold-out event as well. And then also our community Christmas parade on Sunday, December the 7th. It will be an exciting weekend for us as we usher in the holiday season. Also, as a reminder to you, our employee appreciation breakfast will be on Friday, December the 12th. All of these calendar items we will send to you with some additional emails so that you have that with times and information for that as well. Our leaf brochure did go into the mail. You should have seen this by now. It should have arrived at your home as well. We are receiving very good response from our community on this. This has been very successful for us in years past as we identify areas of the city, area 1, 2, 3, and 4, and a corresponding calendar for pickups in those communities. This has really, truly been successful for us over the last couple of years as a cost-saving, efficient, and effective way for us to conduct our curbside leaf collection program. We believe that we'll have success with it this year as well. You asked that we make sure that we include information concerning our recycling program as well as our curbside collection program, and all of that information has been included in this brochure that has been mailed to every home in the city. You've received as well a copy of our last employee newsletter. This was the newsletter is known as Team Tribune. The last one came out on Halloween. I forwarded copies of that to you as well. Certainly we just wanted to kind of give a shout out and appreciation to Steve Owens, our communications manager, for the effort and work that goes into this. It is a really nice and informative publication that is internal for our employees, but we share information about things that are going on with our folks. So glad to be able to have that. And also wanted to share with you, as you have received your most recent edition of Uptown Magazine through the Municipal Association, I do hope that you noticed that there is a feature story on the day in the life of fire chiefs. And featured prominently in that story is our very own Chief Chris Harvey. And so we're glad to see that recognition for him. And his efforts over his career with our fire department and his tenure as our fire chief as he begins to look at retirement in 2015. Very, very proud of Chief Harvey and what he was able to accomplish and what we were able to highlight in that.
I was going to bring that to everybody's attention. I saw that it listed Chris Harvey, but I looked at the picture. I thought it was some GQ model that they had. But now, a closer look, I see it's.
Yeah, he was kind of doing the GQ pose, wasn't he?
Yes, it was.
Very good. But glad that we were able to get that recognition as well. Those are the items that I have to share with council this evening. I would ask council's consideration for one personnel item in executive session. There may be others that you need to consider, but I would be asking for you to consider one, and it is relative to personnel in the Building and Development Standards Department. That concludes my report. Certainly available to answer any questions you may have now or as we continue to move forward.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll move forward to items of new business, the first of which is our 2015 council meeting schedule. Ms. Bunkin, do you have information for us in that regard?
Yes, sir. As in years past, it's the second and fourth Tuesday of each month except December. And in the calendar, I've also noted your summer meeting and other information if you need that.
So it appeared to be a pretty conflict-free year for us relative to the meetings. The only exception is in December because it falls in the week of Christmas. But that certainly is at your discretion. But this is kind of following our tradition as well. And so we present that to you and ask you to either accept by motion or to amend.
Council, the floor is open in that regard.
Make a motion, we accept as written.
Second.
A motion and a second, and any further questions or comments in that regard? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan.
Mr. Airwood?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Bookert?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert? Mayor Danner?
Yes. Council, we have the first reading of ordinance number 30-2014. This is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of a portion of property owned by Zelda Ashton located on Highway 101 North by 100% petition and to establish a zoning classification of R12 for said property. Mr. Pace, thank you for joining us. We're glad to have you back after a absence on a trip to Europe. I believe you went to Germany to visit a daughter, if I'm not mistaken.
I did.
Hear that you got caught in the train strike, but otherwise had a good vacation there. So welcome back, sir.
Yeah, they know what unions are also in Germany, and decided to go on strike while I was there, which interrupted our travel quite substantially. But other than that, a trip was had, and daughter come back with me, so that was a good thing.
All right.
But again, this ordinance is before you tonight. It is annexing property that's located on Highway 101. This would be adjacent to the O'Neill Village community that's currently there. This will not be a part of the O'Neill Village community that's there. It's roughly about 50 acres, and at the time of the memo and things that went out, I did not have any plans yet, but those have been submitted, and we're looking at approximately 134 single-family dwellings to be constructed on that roughly 50 acres there. That does touch or come close to the Lake Cunningham area there on Highway 101, but we look forward to that. It will go to the Planning Commission for the zoning request Monday night on the 17th, and at that time we will conduct public hearing in regards to it.
Council, questions of Mr. Pace?
Glenn, how, I know that we are annexing, 3,300 feet, 3,400 feet of, is that roadway? It says right of way. Is that roadway?
Yes, sir. It is the road from before, when we did annexation of O'Neill Village, we didn't take Highway 101 frontage. So with this ordinance and with this annexation, we'll be cleaning that up and moving from that property all the way to the end of this property.
By state statute, are we able to annex roadway? Because I know you can't use roadway being contingent, but it would seem to me that if we annexed from the roadway from Memorial Drive up to O'Neill Church Road, that would kind of clean things up somewhat.
Right. We can't go beyond our property limits. So like the corner to O'Neill Church Road, we don't have that corner property, so therefore we cannot expand to there. And the same would be for Memorial Drive. There's a break there
Right.
in city boundaries, and therefore we cannot annex that portion also.
By show of hand, is the owner of the property or a representative of the owner of the property with us this evening? Would you like to address council in any form? All right. Other questions of Mr. Pace? Let the record show that someone did indicate that they were here to speak but didn't exercise that opportunity. I'll entertain a motion to receive ordinance 30-2014. Second. I have a motion. I now have a second. Further discussion? Questions? Comments? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Bookert,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor Council.
Thank you, sir. Council, in executive session, we have one personnel matter. Do I hear a motion to adjourn to executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Bookert,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes.